Hey guys, welcome back to Football Watch 90. Here we're gonna February 7th, 2025. So just going through what's up there in footy headlines, which we are using as our source of a lot of the leaks. Let's just go over some of the things that I do find interesting. Inter Messi, question mark, Barcelona kits, some of the remakes, the Total 90 Mercurial Vapor 1 remake, and also we got a Tony Kroos remake, which they call the TK11 for Pros or Pure, not sure, sorry about that guys. Adidas Predator Mania, and lastly we're gonna talk about some of the balls that we got coming from these companies. A lost club, so what do I mean by that? Inter Miami or Messi FC. I feel like when it comes to the identity of Inter Miami, I feel like there is no identity, and as of now the identity of Inter Miami is Lionel Messi and his friends. So it's almost like Messi and Friends Club, and because we have a lot of the players that came from Barcelona now in Inter Miami, either they were retired and now they're nothing to do, so they're coming into Inter Miami, and it's almost like just his friends coming over to play with him, a little bit of scrimmage games. I don't think there's a lot of focus in terms of, for Messi at least, I don't think he's focusing winning titles in Inter Miami because it's really not that important. It's just the MLS league. So nobody really cares about that, even including me as an American. Another part of the move that we got Messi in Inter Miami is also I think that David Beckham is trying to make this franchise kind of fun in some ways, but I think it's failing. It's becoming more of a fanboy club than anything else. Looking at the Inter Miami shirt that's gonna come out for this season, 25-26, it's really just copy and paste and change the color, copy my homework, just change a little bit. You can see it's basically like a Barcelona Argentina, but more Argentina-ish shirt with just pink stripes of different colors. Now I do like the Inter Miami jersey in black. I do think that it looks a lot nicer than the one in pink, but again they just copy and pasted Barcelona shirts. So this is exactly what we're looking at when we look at Inter Miami, Barcelona or Argentina shirt in the beginning with these striped two-tone pink stripes, and then when it comes to the Inter Miami away shirt, it's just basically this year's Barcelona home kit in black. So I just feel like this is more of a marketing thing for Miami. It's not really to make his career any better. Of course he's gonna score goals and it's gonna look like, incredible when you see the amount of goals he did in his professional career, but just insane in terms of what we see in the football league. I feel like it's just Argentinian fans and Messi fans. We're not seeing really any Inter Miami fans the way that we kind of perhaps used to see it again. I don't watch MLS. I may watch some of the highlights, but I'm not MLS followers, and I feel like, people are just glazing on him right now. And hey, look, let's be fair, we saw that a lot in Barcelona, kind of at the end of his period in Barcelona, and we saw a lot of shirts with Messi and the 10 and Saint Dios because, everybody was just basically, Barcelona at some point became FC Messi, and rightly so, but as a fan of the club also, I think that it has to be some respect to the clubs, and again, you cannot compare Barcelona to Inter Miami, but there has to be some respect, and I'm glad that once Messi left, we're actually doing that back to Barcelona club, and we won a Supercopa, and in a great fashion against Madrid. That 5-2 was amazing to see, but what I'm very happy about that is that now we're able to see some rising stars like Balde, who's been there for a couple of years already, and especially that guy in the left, Lamine Yamal, who's now, thanks to, I guess, Messi leaving FC Barcelona, now we don't have to worry about him being in the shadow of Messi, and actually he can shine. And one of my favorite pictures, thankfully, Barcelona is starting to rise again this season. And if it wasn't for him leaving Barcelona, we wouldn't probably have this image here. Lewandowski, Rafinha, and Lamine Yamal, which are basically the stars, the face of the club right now. but no player is bigger than a club. And with that said, Messi is bigger than Inter Miami, which I don't think it's really doing anything good for the club. But when it comes to the kit, it's just so obvious that it's all revolving around Messi. And the away shirt, in my opinion, is actually better than home jersey. But speaking of Barcelona, here from footy headlines, we do have a supposedly provided leak from a very accurate source, and this is just a quote from their website, footy headlines, that this is as I said, this should have a very high accuracy. We expect it to be almost identical to the official kit, and if that's true, I'm really disappointed, because if you look at the collar here, it's a really terrible design. It's no longer symmetrical, and I really do have an issues with the collars they're doing this year with Nike, especially the ones that kind of fold a little bit, but they don't really fold, and they are doing a terrible job with that. I'm not sure what's going on, but if you look at the sleeves also, I do not like what's going on there. But of course, this is just a prediction of what it's going to be like. It's not going to be accurately exactly the way it looks, but this stripes fading from blue to red and vice versa, I really think it looks really nasty. I don't think this is appropriate for Barcelona, and being a big Barca fan, I feel like even the away kits, the only one that you can get away with saying this is actually a pretty good, decent kit is the one in yellow with the collaboration at the Bamba, and the yellow and purple like the Lakers. I feel like that one is pretty decent. I'm not sure if it's gonna look exactly like that, but honestly, I think that's probably the best jersey of the next season coming up. And this salmon color one, it looks ugly. I gotta be honest, it looks ugly, and I'm not sure why they're doing this to Barcelona. But honestly, you compare Barcelona jerseys to our rivals, Madrid, they have a really good portfolio year to year with their jerseys. Sometimes it's a hit or miss, but that's really rare. I feel like Adidas really respects Madrid, and they try to do justice with their jerseys, their kits. And if you just compare the home kit to Madrid, I feel like they've taken that title there, which with a better kit for next year, definitely a lot better in Madrid. It's just more respectful, more professional, as this looks like a clown jersey, and I feel kind of offended that Nike is doing this, and I hope they don't get away with this. I hope this is really completely wrong and they do something different, because this looks terrible. And again, the salmon color, to compare it to the black Real Madrid jersey for next year, again, this is class, and I feel kind of disrespected as a fan that Real Madrid has better kits next year than what we have. I think this year we have better kits, but next year it's really bad. I'm not really looking forward to buying any of these kits, only the one in yellow, and that also just depends on how it looks in person and the actual colors of the yellow and purple, because they can screw that up also. And then lastly, the third kit that Real Madrid has, this kind of I don't want to say royal blue, but this blue jersey, again, it's another class jersey. It's gonna be classic, kind of classic to some of the other Real Madrid jerseys we have in the past. But I mean, this is the only one where I would say there's some competition, but I will have to give 3 out of 3 to Real Madrid in terms of the jerseys. And Barcelona, please, I hope this is not true. I really hope that they fix those problems. And it kind of reminds me of that year 2021 when Barcelona had these jerseys, which, I mean, perhaps the quality of the jerseys weren't bad, but honestly, those jerseys also look really terrible. And then when you complete the whole kit, it just looked really awful. Like the socks with so many stripes, that bright blue, the two-tone shorts in that bright blue and the red, it just looked pretty bad. It was so bad to the point that I remember seeing Barcelona wearing the second option more often than the first kit. It looked kind of similar to this Jester costume, and I'll just take it away because I found that was really disrespectful on Nike's part. I think that jersey didn't sell very well because I always saw it for like 2 years after that jersey came out. I would still see it on sale in a lot of like soccer shops because nobody wanted to buy it. Even like I said, the second kit that they had at some points became like their go-to option instead of going to the first kit, because the first kit was so bad. Even you can see that they were playing, I think this is Benfica. They could have used the original home kit, and they didn't, because they just opted to use this one, which was more like professional looking in my opinion. And I guess even probably the players thought it looked better than what Nike have promoted as a home jersey. And only thing they to salvage there in 2021 was this kit, the third kit, which was like a purplish lavender violet color. And you know, I feel so bad that I never got my hands on this, and I was about to buy the purple jersey, but honestly I didn't get my hands on it, and I kind of regretted it. I thought it was pretty cool, honestly, as a jersey, especially the logo that was shiny, kind of holographic. But nonetheless, let's move on to remakes. Now we have a couple remakes. We have the Total 90s coming out, a streetwear model. This is not supposed to be something you're gonna wear to indoor games. As you can see around here, around the heel, inside the heel liner, it does not look very durable in a sense like you can wear this a lot, because when you play, that area rubs a lot and it starts to fall apart because it's not a durable material. Again, the sole plate or the sole of the shoe, it's not meant to be like, it looks like it could work for indoor, but I don't know about the material outside to hit the ball, strike the ball, and all that stuff. And overall, as you can see here around with the shoelaces, it just looks like not good quality. And I'm kind of hoping that this shoe is gonna be people are gonna use this basically to play indoors and realize that it just breaks really easily, because it's not meant to be an indoor or a shoe to play it with in like really intense competitions. But like I said here, the lining in the heel looks really generic. It's not like a material that is gonna withstand a lot of rubbing, because after just using this for walking, I think it's gonna start to rip apart here in the heel. And overall, the materials look really low quality. And again, they do say that this is supposed to be like a streetwear line now, but I'm not really a big fan of that they're releasing the Total 90s as a streetwear. And then the other thing is that they're gonna remake the Nike Mercurials Vapor 1 in black color, but I'm not really excited about it, because they did release this one in silver, and you see there's a lot of differences. The top one here is the original one, and then the remake on the bottom. You can see that it looks like there's a lot of more volume in the remake as compared to the original. But also the heel here, if you can see in this picture, the heel looks enormous, like you could put a tree trunk here. So honestly, as a shoe for performance, I feel like they really missed the mark in that. A lot of other reviewers, if you ever actually saw them with this shoe, they will tell you the same thing. It's a big missed opportunity here for Nike. And the other thing is that it looks like they didn't use the exact original material that they used in the first Vapors. They actually use the same material that they're using in the Tiempos. So someone said, I think it was J Mike or maybe it was I forgot the other guy's name, but it's basically like a Tiempo with a Mercurial sole plate. So if you kind of wanted a Tiempo with a Mercurial sole plate for 2025, 2024, that was the best chance. But other than that, this was just a more like a good looking shoe, but it didn't really hit the mark in terms of being faithful to the original version. So I think that was a big miss for Nike. A lot of people expected it to be like that. Now also, like I said, Tony Kroos is gonna have his remake of the 11 Pro, but they're not gonna be called the 11 Pro. I think now they're being called the Tony Kroos, the TK11 Pro. And unfortunately, well, it's not gonna be in this white color with the gold, or the ones that we saw Tony Kroos use a lot throughout his career, the white with the blue color. It's actually gonna come out in this kind of color, like a maroon type of color. And another thing about that is that it's gonna be using the sole plate of the Copa Pures that they have right now for this year. It's not gonna have the same as Tony Kroos uses, which is right here. If you look at the one all the way on the right, this is like the exact type of sole plate that Tony Kroos played with, because that was the original sole plate on the 11 Pro. But when they did the remake, they had to use the Copa Pure sole plate, and unfortunately, you know, when they do come out with the Copa Pures or the Tony Cruz 11 Pro, they're gonna be using the Copa Pure or the Copa sole plate that's been used at this moment. So the other thing that you have to keep in mind, that the new releases for Tony Cruz, because he's not playing, but it's gonna be under his name, I guess, there are not gonna be kangaroo leather. It's gonna be Taurus, which is actually just calf skin. So I'm not sure if there's any special treatment to it, but Taurus skin is basically calf skin. They just want it. Next, moving on, they are doing the Predator Manias in red, and they are using the same sole plate as the Predators of 2025, but they supposedly are gonna use the exact materials they used in the original ones. So that means that they are gonna use kangaroo leather. Now, the original ones are here right in the top right corner. 2019, they actually did the remakes, and every time they do remakes, they just reuse the sole plate of whatever Predator is being used that year. But for 2025, they're using the Predator sole plate of 2025, but I could be wrong, I'm just saying. Anyway, moving on to the balls. Puma is releasing this EFL ball, the English Football League, and they're using rainbows because they want to make it inclusive. And I think, I'm not trying to get political here, but you know, Trump took office, a lot of that exclusive things were in programs that were installed into a lot of companies have been removed in America. And I think that a lot of countries in Europe are also going to follow, because you know, it's kind of becoming crazy with all that LGBT stuff. So don't want to get into it, but I think that Puma probably didn't get the memo and say, well, we're gonna release it the way it is because that's how we plan to do it. And they're releasing this rainbow flag football boot. Football. Anyways, I don't think that anyone's gonna want to buy this. If you wanted to do something inclusive, honestly, like, don't think it matters what your identification is. Football is inclusive, and nobody wants to play football and think about inclusivity. And I think that Adidas is actually doing things the right way. They do have their own design for the Women's Champions League, and they don't have to add any rainbows or anything to say that we include everyone in the sport. They're actually just making it nice. They're actually making a ball that people will actually want to buy. And I think at the end of the day, that's what the company should do and worry about. Because at the end of the day, you're selling a product, and you want a product people are gonna buy. But looking at the design they did for the Women's Champions League ball, that's gonna go from the knockout stages all the way to the final, I think this is like a winner. Honestly, my favorite ball that has come out this year. Even like the colors are amazing, they look beautiful, the patterns, the designs, it's just really awesome. Here, as you can see, I think that it just stands out in a good way, and even the designs kind of fade away a little bit, but they're not an eyesore. So if you want to compare that, we're gonna do a comparison here. This is the women's division football for the Women's League in America, and this is what they're using in the Champions League. You just compare those two, and if I ask you which company or which ball looks like there was more effort put behind it to design it. Obviously, you don't have to do much for both of them. They're using a lot of the same panels for different previous balls, but definitely the design on the Adidas Champions League looks like 10 times better than the one for Nike. It's really simple, and even though simple is good, sometimes you just show how much effort they put behind it, and I think that the Champions League ball takes it away here. Again, I think it looks better this year, the Nike Flight Ball, than it looked last year. But I mean, again, talking about balls that look like sometimes too busy or too much, the Puma and the Adidas for the World Cup ball looks a bit too busy. It's the same company, but I think the design is not there. It's a big miss for me. It's just too much going on, and the colors just don't match up in a way that looks pleasing to the eye. And here again, I think the top three designs here are the ones from the Men's Champions League final and knockout stages. This green ball looks amazing. And then you have the one here at ball. Actually, the knockout stage ball is one that's black with some red and the white stars. But this green one for the final is just top tier design. Honestly, in my opinion, the colors look great. A lot of the little details here for I guess it's gonna be Munich. A lot of the details that represent the country and the city. It looks pretty, like, it's well done, I would say. And it same goes for the woman. Like the design, the colors, everything's well done. Now I know that I really like the Nike flight ball that's gonna be designed for next year Premier League. Well, let me move this a bit. The one that's gonna be used for next year looks really nice. It's more like a nostalgic feel to it because it's going back to what when I grew up. That's the kind of ball that I saw a lot in a lot of the highlights. Ronaldinho and whatnot. That was kind of like the golden age for Nike, and it's gonna bring a lot back of that memory and feeling. But if you just compared that Nike fly ball to the two final Champions League balls for the women and the men's, and Adidas just basically knocked it out of the park. Anyway, but that's it for now. This is Football Watch 98. Please like, subscribe, and give me your opinions, guys. So until then, I'll see you in the next one.